Hoyotoho. A very good afternoon to everybody out there und einen wunderschönen guten Nachmittag. I would like to chat to you about different venues today, die unterschiedliche Veranstaltungsorte. For the sake of keeping things simple and not too wordy, I think it's a better idea to call Veranstaltungsorte Bühnen. Which stages do we perform on, and especially at the moment, I think it's interesting that we all share with each other where could we perform, how do we keep an open mind about performances. Now, the whole build up today is so that I can demonstrate to you practically what I have learned from my experience. Im praktischen Aufbau, das erste, es gibt nicht wirklich hier genügend Licht. The first thing that's bad where I am working now is there's not enough light. If you arrive at a performance venue, a stage, in time, if you have the luxury of having a check of the lighting and the stage before, be very friendly to the stage manager and all the technical people working very hard and ask nicely, could I please have more light? Somebody will probably switch on a light. If nobody switches on a light, you deal with a problem. Wenn man Probleme haben sollte mit der Beleuchtung, dann findet man sich zurecht. So that I don't leave out any of the possible venues I would like to share with you today, I thought it's better if we work chronologically through possible performance venues that one has experienced, and more importantly at the moment, where do we go to find stages for our art? Sehr wichtig zurzeit ist die Frage, wo kann ich hin, damit ich eine Bühne habe, Live-Auftritte zu haben. So let's start at the very beginning. Most of us probably had our first performances in the studio of our teacher. Beim Unterricht kann man es wirklich sehen als die erste Bühne. Some singers also were part of a chorus, some instrumentalists part of an orchestra, but I realized that for most singers, the first time you hit a stage as a soloist, you have many questions, and the natural insecurity, I guarantee you, will stay with you through your life and should be respected. Auch auf Deutsch, man hat so eine gewisse Nervosität über, oh Gott, wo trete ich heute auf, was ist das? Und diese natürliche Nervosität wird höchstwahrscheinlich bis zur Karrierenende bei einem bleiben. And as I've said before, as long as you face your enemy, in this instance, your nerves, and invest it in your performance, it will be a good thing. Diese nervöse Energie ist was Fantastisches, sobald man es nimmt und investiert ins Musizieren und ins Kommunizieren. So now we start with the stages. We were with our teachers, mit den Lehrern im Studio. Many teachers sensibly invite other students to listen to you, and also this is where most of us have the first feeling of being criticized horribly and how to deal with this situation. So, wenn man in Unterricht auch vor seinen Mitstudenten kritisiert wird, ist das die erste Stufe zu lernen als erwachsener Musiker, auch mit dieser Kritik während einer Vorstellung umzugehen. Sticking mostly with stages, bleiben wir mehr bei den Bühnen. Doesn't matter what age you are, you will be performing in the living rooms, im Wohnzimmer, man könnte auch sagen im Salon concerts, especially at the moment if you are fortunate enough to have contact with people with a huge lounge with a fabulous big piano who likes the arts, if they're not doing it yet, remind them that they want to enjoy your art. Go forth and offer the programs. This experience of singing in the lounge with people right close to you, obviously at least 1.5 to 2 meters away from you. It's a very tough learning curve, and I think this is the opportunity to really think about why are we all more nervous if we have friends and family out in the auditorium. Warum sind wir eigentlich mehr angespannt? Meiste von uns, wenn Familie oder Freunde zuhören. And I think it is very simple. As soon as you have somebody listening to you out there that you really like or really hate, there's more pressure on you to do a better performance. Da ist immer mehr Druck dabei, wenn jemand, den man kennt, draußen ist. It is way easier on any stage, jede Bühne, wenn man sich die ganze Zeit, auch wenn Mutter da sitzt, vorstellen kann, das sind die Verbraucher. Anytime you are on a stage, I recommend, even if your mother is sitting in the first row going, "Oi, how can she wear that dress? What have I done wrong in my life?" No, no, no. Your mother at that moment is part of the beautiful mass of people who you are now going to amuse with your singing. And as soon as you get up on a stage, it is very important to know there will be positive reception and there will be negative reception. Auf jeder Bühne hat man immer parat zu sein, positive Reaktion und gehässige Reaktion zu haben. That's why it is important, whatever stage you are on, while you are performing, this belongs to you, you are communicating, and I have learned to take it more as a compliment if somebody, a critic, rips me to shreds afterwards for what I've done as a musician, because they have a different opinion, or maybe I had a bad day, because it means whatever happened, somebody listened to you. Wir sind in einem Beruf als Musiker, wo die Kommunikation eigentlich nur gut ist, wenn man überhaupt eine Reaktion, was habe ich gesagt, erzwingt, hervorlockt. That is what we have in our contract to communicate. You will have very emotional reactions and enjoy that. Looking at possible stages. Many schools have some kind of huge hall where they get together to talk about things or to do sports. I'm sure many of you have sung in the school halls and performed serious opera and fun things. Die eigene Schule, wo man mal studiert hat, bitte daran denken, da hat man die Auftrittsort. I can share from my own experience when I was a student during the bad old days of apartheid in South Africa. We would go to some schools, people from the ensemble, the opera ensemble, obviously not with an orchestra. It was would have been too expensive, and the rehearsal time is way bigger if you have an orchestra that needs to go. So we used to go to schools and like Hansel and Gretel have like half an hour or 45 minutes or 1 hour version that we could perform to the children directly. Now many opera houses do this kind of thing. Schule, Auftritte in Schule. Viele Operngesellschaften haben irgendein Programm, wo die Sänger in die Schule gehen für Auftritte. But when you are, if you are a freelance musician, singing musician, nothing stops you from going personally to the headmaster of all the schools right around you, all the schools where you know they are fabulous halls, and probably it's a good idea if you know they have lots of money, but that is a different topic. At the moment, we cannot ask for money first, we must perform. So if you contact the headmaster, obviously phoning or writing an email, make an appointment. Go speak to the headmaster or the music teachers or the musical staff so that you can make a suggestion. Now, if you want to get one of these concerts for yourself in one of the schools, obviously you have to have something fabulous that they'll want to buy, and make sure that you have it ready for the ages that are in the school that you are approaching. Wenn man Kontakt aufnehmen sollte mit einer Schule, kein Gesetz dagegen, immer das höchste Tier anschreiben oder anrufen, falls es in der Schule eine musikalische Abteilung geben sollte, kann man natürlich da anfangen. But all of these suggestions I'm making to you, obviously, we are always prepared to take no as an answer. And every no is, for me, the motivation to look at the other options. So, schools, do not forget about schools. They have fabulous infrastructures that also maybe you want to participate if you have time left over. Maybe you don't have to have children to get involved in school activities. Allora, one part of my life that, I can't even think of it as a stage because it's so special, churches. Die Kirchen als Musikerin, das liegt mir sehr nah am Herzen. The first time I played an organ, I was allowed to play for an organ, a church service on the organ. I was 12 years old, and I will never forget this butterflies that I had this opportunity. Obviously, it is a religious experience as well, but honestly speaking, I know not many church musicians support the faith of the churches in which they are performing or working. Auch auf Deutsch zur Bestätigung. In der Kirche zu arbeiten ist was ganz Besonderes. Aber es ist klar und irgendwie natürlich, dass man nicht erwarten kann, dass in jeder Kirche die Musiker, die da arbeiten, weil auch wenn wir auftreten, singen oder spielen, das ist unsere Arbeit, dass die nur dieser Glaubensrichtung angehören. So I thought it good to talk to you about the fact that probably it's not a good idea for you to go work in churches if you have a religion where other religions are not allowed. I'm just a straightforward Christian, and part of Christianity, the way I practice is you accept other faiths. I mean, do unto others, blah, 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 you know. Allora, mit meinem Art Glauben ist das sehr einfach, weil ich bin so ganz einfacher Christ, und für mich ist das selbstverständlich, dass ich die Glaubensrichtungen von anderen Leuten akzeptiere. Hauptsache, die versuchen nicht, mich umzubringen. So, churches, if you want to make sure you keep on performing, churches always, even now, it is coming back. We have not just the services, there are weddings and there are funerals and all kinds of festivals. Most churches even have like a program for the youth to sing along. This is where you should get involved. Nochmal, in der Kirche, schlicht und ergriffen natürlich auch, wie verdiene ich meine Brötchen, damit ich nicht verhungern. Es gibt viele Eheschließungen und natürlich auch die Beerdigungen, wo vielleicht der oder die Verstorbene sich was Besonderes gewünscht hat. Und da ist es wichtig, die Kontakte zu pflegen. As a student, I had to pay for my own studies, study loan, the normal thing. I think the most helpful work I did was working for a Crematorium. Ich habe bei Einäscherungen immer wieder, die haben so kleines Plastikorgel gehabt, immer wieder ein bisschen gespielt und man wurde als Student dann pro Urne bezahlt. As a student, I picked up on aha at the crematorium. There is money to be made, and it's really, you sit there and you play. There's the next urn, there's the next urn, and you play. I quite often took one of my colleagues or a friend with me to stay there, and for you as a singer as well, there are always people who have it in their will that they would like to have special music at their funeral. I was even once invited to a fabulous after party after somebody had been cremated. It was in the will of this fabulous guy that everybody who attended the service is pleased to be invited for a meal and wine at his place. And seeing that I was with a fun friend, we went and we celebrated life. So, offen bleiben für die neue Erfahrungen. Von dieser einmal für die Einäscherung eines Unbekannten spielen, aus dieser Begegnung haben da für mich auch andere Auftrittsmöglichkeiten, die sind einfach erschienen. The whole thing, why I'm trying to flood you with possibilities of performing in every day is as soon as you have one contact, it's like a natural wave, it will develop. You speak to one pastor, you help them, you are available, he will spread the word. And also women's groups, no politics here, but I'm not a feminist. I think it's very important for me, this time of my life, to keep my femininity. As Europeans, there's so much pressure that we all have to be, wir müssen alle gleichberechtigt sein, aber lass niemanden dir die Femininität nehmen. Oh, that's interesting that I got on femininity by way of the church and burying people. Now, if you want to work and perform in a church, very important, like with any stage you go onto, do find out beforehand what is the dress code. Most churches are rather relaxed about it. Die meisten Kirchen sind einfach viel mehr entspannt, wie man in die Kirche geht. Als Kind musste ich in die Kirche gehen, immer mit Handschuhe und Hut. Das gibt's fast nicht mehr. You do not want to insult the people that you perform for. Apropos performing in churches, it is something completely different if you get to do a concert in a church or nice big cathedral. Wenn man einen Auftritt in einer Kirche haben sollte, ist dies eine total andere Baustelle. Natürlich geht man da auch respektvoll mit der Bekleidung um. If you have a concert, obviously you are not going to wear the Carmen dress that you go dancing with at night. You want the audience to listen to your performance and enjoy it and not go the whole time, yoy, what does she look like now? Hint, if you get to sing concerts in a church, do shamelessly plant friends or colleagues in the audience, at least one, for the very simple reason that when you perform in a church, most people naturally think one is not allowed to applaud. This is where your friends come in. If you have one friend gently starting the applause for the first 2 times, maybe the other people will join in. Die handfeste Empfehlung auf Deutsch, wenn man ein echtes Konzert in der Kirche hat, unbedingt einen Freund oder einen Kollege im Publikum haben, damit diesen einen Mensch das Applaus immer wieder anfangen kann, weil man hat immer noch ganz natürliche Hemmungen, darf ich in der Kirche applaudieren. Now, many stages on my list, possible stages, is obviously we've all been through the drill of Eisteddfods and competitions, Wettbewerbe. When taking part in a competition, obviously every single time you sing or perform, it should be representative of everything you have to offer that will help you get to the next round, or that will, first of all, we do the competitions to develop repertoire, because winning competitions, we all know it's sometimes like winning the lottery. We don't know the taste of the jury. Music is a matter of taste always. Sometimes there are singing competitions where obviously there's one singer that's so wow that we're all glad when he wins a prize. This doesn't always happen. Nicht alle Wettbewerbe haben die beste Sänger als Gewinner, weil man schlicht und ergriffen Musik und vor allem das Singen nicht so quantitativ einteilen kann. Das ist sehr emotional. Also, so if you decide doing competitions is for you, please take the opportunity of honing your craft. Every next round you do, observe it as a concert, including obviously seeing that I am female. I have to speak to the ladies about dresses in competitions. Now, any stage you go on to, ladies, if you haven't seen where you're going to perform before, please be aware that the stage might be above the audience, which means if you have on a short dress, the first row will not be impressed by the view. Wenn man nicht weiß, wie es auf der Bühne aussieht, immer die Möglichkeit in Erwägung ziehen, dass die Bühne höher als die erste Reihe sein könnte und deshalb ein kurzes Kleid nicht empfehlenswert ist. Man will das Publikum nicht ablenken, die Juroren vor allem auch nicht. You want the music to speak. Now, if it's daytime, very simple old-fashioned rule is we normally don't put on floor-length dresses for daytime, so I suggest something that goes way over your knee. Something nice and floaty that goes over the knee. Some ladies have perfect model legs. I don't. I have these knees that look like I am related to a goat, so when I go on stage, I make sure they are covered up. Even wearing the stockings, cover anything that might distract the audience from your performance. Damen, nur den Vorschlag, bitte auch tagsüber, nix Bodenlänge auf der Bühne. Es ist besser, das für abends aufzubewahren. Und natürlich gibt es heutzutage auch fabulous geschnittene Hosenanzüge, die trotzdem auch weiblich wirken. Especially if you're singing all these roles where you might be prancing around the stage as a man, it is nice to show that you can wear pants, and pants nowadays can be just as feminine. Back to the long list of where can we perform. Let us get to the big theme of performing outdoors. I think I have had some of the most horrific and funny experiences on my life performing outdoors. Experiences of my life. Outdoors. One has natural enemies when one performs outdoors. There might be wind, there might be rain, and my all-time favorite, insects. Alle Auftritte, die draußen stattfinden, total andere Baustelle. Man hat natürliche Feinde, der Wind, der Regen, mein Liebling, Insekten. Be prepared, as with everything in life. Please make sure, if it's the time of year, that there are many creepy crawlies flying around. The mosquito bites. There are these creams you can put on to scare some of them away. There are things you can even put on your clothes. Wear stuff to keep the mosquitoes away. Wetter vorbeugen, Mückenschreck tragen. If it is rainy, Sometimes the people insist that we want a show and you will perform. So, practical reminder, it's not even a suggestion, have a fabulous raincoat ready. Für den Regen immer einen Regenmantel parat haben, mit dem man notfalls auch den Auftritt absolvieren könnte. And then to my favorite theme of the wind, I have all the possible toys to share with you what I have. If you have to use music, make sure you have something very stable. Maybe there aren't music stands. Vielleicht gibt es keine Notenpulte that you can put your music into. And then we all have our different methods. If you forgot, washing pegs will do the trick. Very professional, we call them bulldog clamps. To fasten your music, you see the bulldog clamps, they are not so obvious. And I've discovered something new in the hardware store for performing in bad weather outside. This is some kind of a clamp. I think it's for electric stuff. And then, so obviously, if you're preparing your music, you fasten the outsides and you have a hand free. So viel zum Thema für den Wind parat sein. Kälte draußen. We all want to look good while performing. Man will so gut wie möglich aussehen, während man eine Vorstellung hat. So, parat sein für Hitze. For heat, classical for men and females. Always have a fan ready. I have even seen fans, ich habe auch Fächer gesehen, die spezial für Männer entworfen sind. Obviously, this is too silly to use during a performance. Now, the other prop that I have ready, if you're outside in winter or in a church where you know you're really going to freeze, I have all these gloves with the cut-off fingers. Why the cut-off fingers? So you can feel where you are going. And even if you just heat that bit of your hand, it's like wearing leggings under the evening dress. It will help the blood flow to everything. It's also why I have this ready for what do you need in your big handbag. Ladies, gentlemen can wear scarves too. I specifically brought you this scarf to be prepared for any venue. Now, if you arrive, you don't know what you want to look like, einfach so ein Teil kann man drapieren. It has some fabulous label. I think it was Gucci and I found it on a sale somewhere. But the reason I suggest having a scarf with you when you wait backstage, you can drape it over you if you're cold. Sometimes we have to wait backstage and there's nowhere to sit. Then you can roll up your scarf and put it down on the floor. The gloves to make sure you get the message. They are obviously even fingerless gloves for winter with a bit of, this is plastic for anybody that doesn't like wearing fur to keep your hands warm. So much to my thoughts upon venues we could perform in. Now, as always, I like to finish the session with a piano solo that summarizes what we have talked about. Ein Klaviersolo, zusammenzufassen, worüber wir alle so gesprochen haben. And today I have chosen as the ideal piece of piano solo of venues, like we have to be flexible and go to many different Bühnen, stages. The Intermezzo from Manon Lescaut. Now, in the opera Manon Lescaut, I wrote it down so that I don't get it mixed up. The story moves from Amiens to Paris to Le Havre to New Orleans. Die Geschichte bewegt sich genauso, wie wir im Leben auf sehr vielen Bühnen herum flexibel auftreten werden. And this intermezzo is actually a description of the suffering of Degreux, obviously the tenor, because he cannot save his beloved Manon. He now knows that he will follow her, and he is prepared to follow her to the ends of the earth. Dieses Intermezzo sagt aus, dass der Liebhaber seine geliebte Manon nicht retten konnte, aber jetzt parat ist sie überall hin, auch bis in den Tod zu folgen. So I will just start shortly before the big theme starts, as my cello legato isn't quite so good on the little piano. This is not a toy, this was the last prop I wanted to share with you. If you have to perform outside and you know it's going to be cold, you don't have to have one like this. There's a warm water bottle in there. Einfach eine Wärmeflasche dabei haben, damit man nicht kalt auf die Bühne geht. Which brings us back to the summary of different stages in Puccini's Intermezzo from Manon, LESCAUT. And here's the end of the fabulous cello solo. Also, let us travel to many more Bühnen stages in life, performing, singing, remaining healthy, happy, and sane. If you like this, tell me. If you don't like it, tell me as well. If you want to support me, falls du mich unterstützen wolltest, gerne. Please, this is the English version. This is the English book I wrote. Bounce Back Babes, shoppen oder auch auf Deutsch habe ich es geschrieben aus Steh auf Weiber. Diese Erzählungen sind nicht feministisch. These books I wrote are not feministic at all. 26 jolly ditties. If you want to support me, buy one of my books. Get them on Amazon. And keep on hoyoto.